Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
If you're a fan of comic books and comic book conventions, Daytona Beach Comic Con needs to be on your list of must-attend events. It's a show that actually focuses on comic books. Imagine that! This year's event is happening on Saturday, September the 6th, and Sunday, September the 7th. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. There's a new convention in town, and it's sure to be mega fun without the mega expense. Comics, toys, collectibles, pop culture. ShadowCon, Saturday, February 1st, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. Silverline creators will be there, so we'll see you at the show. If you find yourself in the Orlando area, and let's be honest, doesn't everyone come to Orlando for the House of Mouse? Head over to Coliseum of Comics to get your comic book fix. Be sure to check out their location on East Colonial Drive, where they carry a wide selection of independent comics, including Silverline books. Stop by and don't forget to tell them Silverline sent you. Hey, if you're an independent comic creator looking to get your comic printed, look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our comics and do a fantastic job. They can even print special edition covers. When you reach out to them, be sure to tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kelber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Hello, welcome to Wednesday Wham. Well, it's a conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. We are continuing the conspiracy from last week. It is continuing. I swear I pressed the Wednesday button, but if you see faces that you don't recognize and days that you don't recognize, that's because we are Wednesday Wham and not Tuesday. So, yes. So
it does say Wednesday Wham at the top, so we're good.
Yeah, we do apologize for that. Barb last week swears she pressed the Wednesday button. I swear I pressed the Wednesday button. So I don't know what's going on. So we do apologize for that. It's a glitch.
And I was looking for a piece of artwork we're going to show off tonight. So I stepped away, stepped back, went up to touch to do something, and hit the little X button that flips you out of the show. So it's yeah. Don't touch any buttons.
All right. Well, welcome to Wednesday Wham, everybody. Thank you for joining us again. We are happy to have you. We've had some really, we've had some humdingers in the last couple of weeks, though. We've had some really good shows.
Last week was fun.
Last week was fun. Yes, It was indeed. And so,
and I've already found at least one new conspiracy for the next time we do that.
So we did the conspiracies, and then we did the was it the week before we did the comic panel?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So those were
time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So there's lots of
fun when you're having flies.
So everybody, welcome back to the panel, or welcome back to Wednesday Wham. Let's go back through our wonderful introductions as we always do, and hopefully we don't glitch out the matrix this time. So we will start with ladies first, this way over here. Barb Kalberg, introduce yourself quickly and let everybody know what you do.
Well, my nickname is the Empress of Inks. I've been an inker for 35 years for everybody under the sun, and now I work for Silverline. I've been coloring for the last 6 years and writing as well. And I am the CFO of Silverline Comics. So I pinch the pennies, or else at least I yell at Roland and BJ.
Count the
I
beans.
need that receipt.
You count the beans.
I do.
All right, Cassisi, give us a rundown.
I don't have a fancy superhero name yet, but hopefully I can get one day. I'm a writer here at Silverline, and I've edited some of Divinity, which is an awesome book. Yep. And so I penned an issue or a small story of Trump's in the Christmas issue of Silverline. And then we have a new Silverline Team Up Volume 2 coming out with Tempest and Miss Fury. And so I penned that as well. And then there's another project that hopefully I can announce soon if we get that going. So.
Oh, yes. Speaking of projects that have been announced, are we going to be able to announce the project that you were on there, Barb?
Which
one?
The secret one from Japan?
Oh, yes. I'm working on Ultraman.
Ooh.
Oh,
nice. Nice.
And it's going to be released when?
It's trading cards, and this is the third round is being released this year, this summer. They've promoted my art at Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh, my neck of the woods. Okay.
Wonderful. Awesome.
I've been holding that under my hat for an entire year.
Mm-hmm.
I signed an NDA. So.
I've noticed that tongue's been a few times.
All right, so now we have our venerable artist down below, Rob Davis. And are you allowed to speak on your secret project yet, or no?
I don't know. I think
It's also my secret project
which is also another.
Yeah,
I think
another
they
one
mentioned it on the Tuesday night show, but I don't know that for a fact. Because that's the one night I can't watch. It's too late. It's after my bedtime, so I don't watch that one. I will occasionally drop in and watch the Sunday show, but the Tuesday one, I just can't. I can't do it. But anyway, I'm Rob Davis. I've been in the industry about the same amount of time as Barb has. I said down the other day. I think it's between 38 and 39 years. Well, somewhere between 36 and 39. I'd have
it all blurs after a while.
Yeah, it does. And that's almost 4 decades. And when you get old, the gray hairs start growing in instead of out.
Oh,
so it kind of impedes the thinking process. But anyway, I've worked on everything from Star Trek in the far-flung future to Merlin in the far-flung past, and all kinds of stuff in between. I'm presently the art director and illustrator at Airship 27. We did a podcast for them earlier today, which is why I have my Airship 27 shirt on today. This has been a very full day for me, but yeah, and plus I do work off and on for Silverline. I did the book Twilight Grim. Issue 3 is in comics. Is it 3 is in shops now? No, it's issue 4.
Oh, is it?
2 is in shops right now. We just ordered number 4 last month from last month or the month before from previews. And speaking of previews, I want to say Divinity is in.
Yes.
Divinity 1 is in previews. So go to your local comic shop, go to your online comic shop, and order it right now. No, after the show. After the show, go order it.
Please tell your comic shop to order Divinity.
Right. Yeah, because it's a great
People
book.
should be able to
Really
multitask. They have 2 screens, right?
Yeah.
They have their phone in
just
the...
to promote
Pull
it.
up another window and order it while you're watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to promote it, it did win when I previewed the number 1 back in 2020. It did win the best new indie comic award of 2020. So please go out and order it because it's going to be good.
Awesome. Wonderful.
It's worth your time. It's a great book. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. I
Awesome.
don't say that lightly either. I don't endorse a lot. This is really good.
All right. So,
Thumbs
and
up,
me...
too.
And number 1 is also going to be recolored and we're switching the covers around a bit. So
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
it'll number one on previews in the retailer stores. We'll come out with Jeff Johnson's cover.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. And I myself
cool.
tonight will be your host, your venerable
Yes,
host.
we
No, I'm not
color too.
venerable. Rob's venerable. So I don't know what that makes me. I guess that makes me the splash of color.
Mhm.
The color splash. Because
You're the
you're going to be the scribe.
Oh,
We'll call
my
you the
God.
scribe.
I like that.
Yeah.
name. I can do
Yeah. All right, and I'm the colorist on this wonderful book, The Wolf Hunter, which is a World War II mystery, and Wolf Hunter 2 is now available somewhere, I believe. And this was the retro cover, which was a homage to, who was it? Russ Heath. Homage to Russ Heath. So, yeah.
Great guy. I met him. One
Yeah.
time at a show. He's a great guy.
So yeah, so I colored those, and and been dabbling with some comic stuff of my own. And speaking of comic stuff, we will be discussing why comics tonight, and what can you do with comics that you can't do elsewhere, and are there any examples that we can pull up? And I think we have some examples we can show of some stuff that kind of might hopefully blows people's brains out. And
I thought of something. Yeah. And I sent it. I put it in the messenger box if you want to pull it up when we get to talking about it. But I also have the original art here too. So
yeah. So I did not bring it with me. I should have brought it with me, but I did not bring it with me. But part of why comics is
why not comics?
Why not comics is also because it's fun and interactive, and it connects with my kids. So that's one of the reasons why comics. So just before we came in tonight, I was with my boys, and we were working on some of the characters that are in my comic, where we created a character together, the Catahoula. My boys have created a bunch of side characters that are now going to start populating that book, and my son just came up with another
one?
Awesome character. It was like, whoa,
Armadillo Man, right?
Well, not quite. No. It was this crazy spider character with a corn in its head. So it was a very fascinating character, and we ended up developing it, and then we went and looked online, and it turns out there's actually a corn spider.
Oh, there you go.
So then we took elements from that spider, incorporated it into the character, and
I'm sorry, I won't be reading this book because it's got a spider in it.
Spiders.
No. Well, no. We kind of made it more into the superheroic kind of character.
Right.
I will not share the video I found on Facebook about spiders.
So that's
it was hilarious.
Yeah. So part of why comics is because your imagination can run wild. You can just do some really crazy stuff. So
special effects are cheap.
Right. So there we go. So there's this one. So special effects are cheap with comics, right? What do you guys think, Kaz, Barb?
I think selfishly, I think you could do a lot of cool things in every visual medium. I think comics are a good medium if you want to go into visual storytelling, but you don't have the budget for animation, right? Like, I know there are a lot of cool things that you can do to get into that and learn how to tell a story visually. It's not as intimidating as something that's live action or animation. And the other thing is you have to solve problems in comics, and that's fun. Like, how do you tell the story and do an effect? How do you kind of verbalize or even depict visually certain effects that are easy to do in a movie or a moving medium? How do you do that in comics? And I think that solving that puzzle, it kind of, that kind of turns me on. It gets me excited about how do I express a time-based character in comics, or how do you express, the stoppage of time in stills? Like, how do you do those things with a superhero or with any kind of science fiction? And it's just a fun medium to play in, and the cost of entry is lower than a lot of the other visual mediums.
And so then I guess another question we can ask is, what can you do in comics that you can't do in other mediums?
or that you can do better than
or
other
that you can do better. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And-
yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I had a guy come up to me at the show last weekend and told me, and this is something I've heard over and over and over again, including from Roland.
Mhm.
He said, comics taught me how to read.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And you can't say that about movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because the art is engaging, and it engages the visual cortex. It engages the eye with the art, and along with it, you pick up the words, and you learn how to read that way. Why
And
comics for me?
Oh, go ahead.
Why comics for me? I have always been a rapacious reader from the age of 5. I mean, I would sit and read the backs of the cereal boxes for breakfast,
Yeah.
and my family were always teasing me about I'd read anything. So one Christmas they got me a gag gift of a roll of toilet paper with writing on it, so I could.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but
So you
I
can
also
read while you're sitting
Right.
doing your daily
Right. So
constitutional.
and I read all my recesses. I would sit and read and stuff like that. But I also really, really loved art, and I
Mhm.
took art all through high school, straight A
Mhm.
student in art, and I went on to study advertising and design in college. To me, it was a perfect amalgamation of my two
Mhm.
great loves.
Mm-hmm. So I was just going to throw in my 2 cents on your thing on reading. Is comics allow you to do 2 types of reading, right? You're reading the words, but then you're also reading the visual.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a two different types of reading at once. So it's kind of like a very interesting kind of mix of
And
things.
it teaches you word association too.
Yes. So now the other thing that comics can do, in my opinion, is it can also present complex visual ideas or complex ideas in a visual way that kind of then makes it clear or allows you to think it through to kind of get the idea of what's going on and maybe expand an idea that you don't necessarily get with just plain words. So I think that's something else that comics can do. So why don't we pull up some examples and see what we might want to think about on some of this stuff here. So this is, I think this is Flex Mentallo. I don't remember, but I do remember seeing this
Oh wow,
long
That
time
is
ago in the
really
90s.
interesting.
that's wild.
So this is a pretty crazy image, and yeah. So like this is panels. You've got panels. You've got all these boots and things are all chopped up, and okay. So this is telling a story. You got close-ups. You got far shots. You got this picture where this guy's confident. Then you got this picture of. So this is the same guy, and he's falling, and then we see him falling here.
There's
and
no way to do that in movies. You can't do
And then
something
there's
like that in movies.
something here. I don't know what
Yeah,
that is.
that's weird, isn't it?
Okay, so we're seeing a story here of some sort, and yeah, like you try and describe this.
Mushrooms or what?
I think this is the writer is Grant Morrison. I think that was Grant Morrison who wrote this.
Yeah,
I do not recall who the artist is. Oh, maybe I do. Oh, what's his name? For the life of me, I cannot remember for the life of me who it is. But he ended up
Anybody
doing
watching those
Superman. Yeah, if anyone's watching and you know who that is, let us know. But yeah, so this is a really, really neat, cool idea. That so this is something you can do in comics that you can't do elsewhere.
I when you say can't do elsewhere, it's difficult to do elsewhere.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, you could.
You might be able to do it as a visual montage in a movie, maybe in animation.
Not
No,
even
that's
a,
it.
right? Not even a montage. When you think of the Matrix and Neo in the room with the architect and thousands of screens that show.
Okay, yeah, but were they overlapping each
Devil's
other like
advocate
this?
steps up again.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. And I'm not trying to be a devil's advocate. I'm just trying to point out.
Oh no,
comics
no.
can do this. It does
yeah.
this great, better at an economic scale. Like you can
Yeah.
tell the story, the same story that took them millions of dollars to set up
Yeah.
that same.
Right.
You could have told
Yeah,
that.
that shot for Matrix probably took weeks
Right.
to set up and do.
Right.
And light properly, and
Right.
just and make sure the color was correct, and probably took many takes.
Right.
This, a guy probably did it in a day or
Right.
less.
That's yeah.
And
It still took some planning here.
That's powerful, right? It's amazing.
It is a powerful piece, and
Right.
it breaks all the rules of storytelling. There's no Z shape on the page. You can read any part of it in conjunction with another part. Yeah, it breaks all the rules, but it does it in a spectacularly good way.
Right.
I really like that page.
So now here's a question for you. Like, okay, so now try to write that.
That's the first thing I thought about when you put this up is I wonder what he wrote in the script to convey this idea.
Right, but you cannot write this as a page in a book.
You can't say that. You can't say that, right?
Actually, I can't think of how you would. Can you?
But you
okay, maybe you could, but it would take some serious doing.
It would.
I would
and that's
take,
why
like I said, it would take doing some
better.
mushrooms.
a little help.
Well, it looks like
I'm not talking about the regular white ones. I'm talking about the ones that make you go crazy.
All right. So the other thing that the comics can do is relay emotion very well.
Oh, wow.
So here, this relays emotion really, really fast and really well. Like, this is very interesting. So you have this kid with a startled expression on their face.
I feel the vertigo in that too. Wow, that's
nice. And then okay, so now you see this, and if you weren't seeing this bottom part of the panel, and you just see this girl doing this, okay, like, what is she doing? And then you're like, oh,
yeah, and you and because of the perspective, you get that feeling of vertigo.
Mm-hmm.
That's well done.
So this is something that's really you can do with comics really well, is get that emotional punch, and this is something that's
short.
This is something that's,
you can pull something like that off in a movie, but again, it's the fact that that's just pencil and ink on paper.
Yeah,
it's not a month's worth of work in the studio or on site.
It's the real estate, right? The real estate to convey the same idea. Like, you have to kind of build up to this in a prose book, right? You have to kind of build that, and it may take a couple pages to build that, but you could do it right on the page. All the things that were associated in those 20 pages that you had to write, just in this one page, and your eye can get it really quickly, right? Like, so.
There's no need for word balloons, really.
Yeah.
Hi, Woody.
Hey, Woody.
All right, let's take a look at this.
Even without word balloons, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why I grabbed this picture is because it's completely different from the other two pictures, and it has its own style, right? So the other thing is why comics is because you can have so many different ways of presenting something, and again, this image has great impact, has a wonderful setting. I mean,
it really gives a sense of size too. They're just swamped by this massive forest.
Yeah.
And
like
your
the
story,
on the previous page.
The panel by itself just tells the story by itself. Like, there's a story here, and you just pause and you just take it in, and you're like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's like I'm on my iPad here, and I zoom in and I see all the detail in the trees, and that's pretty incredible. I
Right.
wonder
So
if some of that was, yeah, the water was probably done with either Zipatone or
yeah, I
an
think it's
effect
Zip.
in
Yeah.
Photoshop. But the
Yeah.
rest of it, I don't. Some of it might be, but a lot of that is probably just scratchy. You're just
Mhm.
scratching in with a quill or a pen. I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's gorgeous.
that's dedication to getting it
Yeah.
to feel right.
That's almost
No,
borderline stipple.
yeah,
Stipple is a nightmare, man.
different kinds, different textures. That's good inking. Is
Yep.
when you can depict so many different types of
We're getting
texture.
Finley territory here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep. So now, if you have deadlines, don't do this. So again,
Yeah.
being able to tell a story in a very fascinating way is something that's prime in comics. And here we have another page where you have you're able to tell a complex idea and get the emotion across with no words. There's absolutely no words here. So this is like a grave, and then you have the symbolism. You've got the cross and the crow, and then you got the long shot. Then it comes to the close up, which is breaking panels, and then because these guys are here, now you get the close up here. So you can tell a lot of complex information in a very brief amount of space. So this is a very kind of neat thing that can happen here. Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I love
technique again. Yeah,
and I love the fact that they are breaking panel, right? That's a thing that would be difficult to do in other mediums, right? Like to have an image that is integrated but imposed over the other images that is so woven into the story, so you can kind of get a lot out of it in a way that is not traditional in the other mediums. So, but coming up with even how to do that, it's just a different language of storytelling that's fun to figure out, right?
Yeah,
because the tools are so different. The
now
boundary is so different.
speaking of breaking panels, did you guys know who Gavin is? Have you ever heard of Gavin, the musician?
The name sounds familiar.
So Gavin was a musician out of Montreal, and I think he was the lead singer for. I don't know if the band was called Styx. Maybe I could be wrong.
There's a band called Styx.
Yeah. So I think it was, but I could be completely wrong. He was also lead singer for another band, but he also did a solo career. But he did a video, which was basically him running through comic panels, and he would break out of the comic panel and stuff like that. It very, very, very fascinating. Very, very fascinating video. It's back from the 80s, and even then, even if you see it now, you'd be like, wow, they really they knocked this thing out of the park, whatever they did to make that happen. So it's a very, very, very cool video. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it since. But I was going to bring it up to kind of discuss how they do that kind of stuff similarly, but didn't have time. So yeah, all right, let's take a look at another comic page here, and let's see what we got. Oh, here we go. So one thing we can do with comics is heroics. Heroics is something that's really easy to show in comics, and you can do it in a lot of fascinating ways. And this is absolutely fascinating. I think this is a brilliant panel or a brilliant page. Yeah. The positive and negative space, the
design features.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Very, very cool. So this reminds me of a whole bunch of artists all at once, but I'm not sure who it is. It reminds me of a little.
I see some Miller in there. I see some.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of Tintin in there. There's just There's several
it's
different
very noir.
genres. Yeah, it's very noir. Yeah.
So it looks like a little bit like Frank Miller, a little bit like who did the Long Halloween? Tim Sale. But it's not Tim. Yeah. But it's not Tim Sale because this guy here doesn't look Sale-ish.
It's a different style. That's almost Mignola's. Mignola's
Yeah,
this style too.
but it feels like it's very Euro. And
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing this signature down here, and it looks like
Jay Reed
J. Reed? Oh,
Oh,
maybe. Okay. Yeah,
or
so it's just
Avery.
very,
A
very, very
Reed.
cool.
It could be
Yeah.
all one name.
All right, let's see what we got next year. Oh, yes. So visually presenting complex ideas.
Yay.
So
That's pretty
again,
obvious.
yeah. but it's showing a complex idea in a very small space, right? And very quickly, which is very cool. So
Sure is. That is really cool. And it gets the point across
Mhm.
very, very obviously.
yeah.
Very simple,
All
but at the
right.
same time, it's complex and simple all at the same time.
Mhm.
That's another amazing page. I don't know where you
Yeah.
find this stuff.
Pinterest, then just look up stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Here's another page where you can tell a complex idea.
Mhm.
And
Nice color.
so
Yeah,
this
just
is
spot colors. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
pretty
reminds me of
amazing.
Schindler's List, where you had the little girl
Mhm.
in the pink coat, and that was the only splash of color.
Mhm.
so. All right. So we got this kid bringing out the garbage. Then we go to the next panel, testing their flashlight. Check the flashlight on the tree. Like excellent composition everywhere. And then he's checking underneath a trailer. And then he looks through the fence.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
he sees a truck driving by off in the distance. And then we zoom in on the truck, and it seems like somebody's going around setting stuff on fire. Right? So very, very cool.
All completely wordless.
Mhm.
It tells you everything you need to know. And it's so simple too. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at this carefully, you notice that this is not like overly complicated art. It's really well done art, but you don't have to be like a rendering master in order to create effective storytelling.
Yeah,
So this is also
only what's needed to tell the story.
Yeah.
Very
So-
Alex Toth.
Yes.
Alex Toth was of that school. Yeah. And he
So-
used a lot of black like this does too.
Yeah. So look at this panel here. This is really cool. Like only what
Yeah.
you need. So like if you say, "Hey, I'm not a
Minimal
great
detail.
artist, but I love comics." Well, this person used very, very few lines and just did enough to get the point across. Right? This is all you need to do. So if you have a story to tell, you can make it as simple as you need it to be and go to town. So that's also why
I've
comics.
seen good storytelling with stick figures.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go. Here's another reason why comics, because you can take people on flights of imagination, right? Totally like out into another realm. You can take them into another space and transport them there.
Mobius was good at that.
Yeah. And this is where the images and the words are engaging, right? And this is the cool part about comics. Like you see this and then you're like, what is going on? I want to figure this out, right? It's just super cool.
And the other thing is so much to appreciate on this, right? Like when we look at like a book, right? You appreciate the author, right? The thought that went into it, right? But when you look at a comic book page, especially one that has color, you're appreciating the story from the writer. Did they do it well? The penciler, did they do it well? The colorist, did they do it well? The letterer, did they do it well? You know, everything, there's so much detail that goes in that you can appreciate just on one page, right? Like tails of the bubbles, the shape of any kind of caption balloon, right? And you're not even looking at the art yet. Just looking at that stuff alone, the font, wow, why did they pick that color? It pops. Why did they pick that color? Like it's, you can just appreciate so much on a comic book page, and you have to master so much as a team in order to get it right. That there's like a high level of appreciation. Not to say that that's not in any other medium. It's just that, wow, on a comic book page, you can really, really see how a lot of people have to be good at a lot of things to kind of make it what it is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that leaves a lot to get done wrong, too. So, but it's people who are dedicated to the craft. You can pretty much count on them doing it right. So it's it's got so much potential. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Yes.
Right. So again, why comics? Because you can present really cool ideas, right? So the character comes walking into the page, he comes walking around in the circle, then he comes here and across, right?
Yeah, breaking the rules again. Although that is kind of a Z.
Yeah. But you can kind of see everything. You see storytelling, you see emotion, you see cool layout, you see all sorts of interesting stuff all happening all at once. And then you have the combination of the words and images together. And so
how many, the idea of thoughts getting out on a page, right? Movies don't necessarily do that well, but books and comics can do it really well. Like you can capture their thoughts in the moments that they do it really well.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Okay, this is another. The reason why I brought this up was just because style. Why comics? Because you can have just so many different ways to present something, and you don't have to be stuck in a genre or if your capabilities are only a certain type of ability. Learn how to leverage that and take it to town. Very simple but very effective.
Very stylistic.
And again, excellent storytelling. Very simple, very clear, but again, very very well thought out. So there's just so many styles and genres and ways to go, and this is why comics, and they're so much fun. My biggest complaint in the world is the fact that there's so many comic books out there and so many different styles, and I just don't have enough time in the day to read them all. And I like if anyone out there has a job for somebody to just read comics, please call me. I'm available. And I will just sit and read comics. Like I can just get lost in comics. Like they're just something about them that just, and again, another
talk
the
about
impact, mood, emotion. You get the emotion, you get the, everything.
Possibly what time of day it is, even from that.
Yeah. Or like just amazing.
It gives a sense of violence.
Yeah. There's something that seems to be going that doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, danger, flight. Yeah.
Like so. So like this is what comics can do. Comics can give you that punch, right?
With just a little bit of color and some black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very, very, very
and
effective.
no words. Again, no words.
Yeah. Now this comic probably has words, but this page happened to not put them on. So like you can see that there's some sort of interaction happening between this lady and the girl, whether they're mother and daughter, don't know, but there was probably words that are just not here. But
the word balloons haven't been put on this page yet. Yeah.
So, but
it's
again,
still, you can still tell. That's the thing about it. A good storyteller in comics.
Yeah.
You should get a general idea about what's going on just from the drawings.
Yep.
And then you get pulled in deeper by the dialogue and or the captions. It just builds on the story. but you should be able to tell what's going on just from the art.
Yep. Oh, hey, this is a Barb special.
This is this is Ken Hooper's Pencils My Inks on an ElfQuest page from 1993. Anybody who knows anything about ElfQuest knows that the Blue Mountain Pureblood elves thought that the Wolf Riders were an abomination because of their tainted blood. So this is a panel that shows temptation and revulsion.
Oh yeah, okay. So you can show that emotion very well in comics, and you can. But you're also showing the transition happening, right? Where these this wolf thing.
It's a dream sequence. He wants this, and what the closer he gets, he realizes that what it is. It has to do with the Wolf Riders, and he's repulsed with himself, and as you can see, he turns away. But I also liked that Ken, and this was before it became a huge fad in comics, but Ken used the Art Nouveau style here of Smuka to give it an elegance, which I mean the Blue Mountain Elves were all about elegance,
right,
and they were beautiful beyond compare. But yeah, this specific page was about temptation and revulsion, and I thought he did a really, really good job of showing that on his face and then turning away.
And there's some of your fine pen work or your brush work.
Yep.
Yeah. Look at that.
I just like the layout of this. His collar becomes a part of
right.
The panel board.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So you can incorporate design elements into your comics. So why comics? Because you can add all those wonderful details.
Design elements. That's right.
Yeah. All right. So here again, this is Darwin Cook, and
a master, just a
simple
master.
And effective. Just absolutely brilliant. Like the storytelling goes right. Only the lines that are needed, only the color that is needed, nothing else, nothing. But why comics? Because you can tell your story effectively, and very simply. So, yeah. Now, let's see here. Oh, now I think this is a story that Rob had introduced me to. I think. Maybe you recognize this, Rob. Maybe you don't. But again,
yes, I do. Yeah,
this
I
is
was
just to
very
show.
impressed by this series.
Yeah, this is just to show different approaches, and the fact that you're not limited to just doing something one way. So comics can just give you so many different ways of presenting information and data, and yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful here. All right, do you guys have any other thoughts on why comics that we haven't touched on yet? Anything that's here, okay, this is something interesting. So this is Electra. This is Bill Sienkiewicz with Frank Miller writing, and this is Electra Assassin. And the thing that's really fascinating here is you can tell two stories at once in comics. So if you see this image, you're like, okay, well, what's going on here? Okay, we got this character who's all, like hooked up to like some sort of computer stuff or whatever. And then you start reading this. So this gives you insights into what's going on with this character here. But there's another story that's going on as you read these word balloons, or these what are they called? The little
balloons.
Captions. These are captions. So a lot of this story was told in captions, and if you read the captions tell one story while the images tell another. And so you end up having this kind of like dichotomy happening as you're going through the story. And so the captions do kind of inform you what the images are doing, but they're also telling you another story behind the scenes, and then as the story goes, eventually like they merge together and they come as one, and then the story is being told all at once, and then they split off again, and then like you're hearing the minds of other characters at different times. And it's really, really amazing how you can kind of do that in comics. Not so much in
it's harder to do.
movies.
It's harder
However,
to do in movies.
however,
It can
like,
be done, but
yeah,
it's a real. You have to be very skilled.
yeah,
to pull it off in a movie.
Memento might be in that ballpark where you're telling two stories at once, or like stories that are kind of like in one story and another story, or maybe Pulp Fiction. So yeah, so that's another reason why comics, because you can layer your stories and tell them in a fascinating way, but you have to think it through. So this one's really interesting. If you ever read Electra Assassin, it's very fascinating because when you initially start reading it, you have really no idea what's going on, and you gotta get past the first couple pages, and then you start connecting the ideas. Oh, okay, there's more than one story happening, and yeah. So the reason why I show this again is the heroics. So comics are excellent for heroics. And here we have Batman coming across through the city, and big hero shot as he swings through to do his thing. Drama, yeah.
Drama.
Actually,
every panel has some form of drama in it.
Mm-hmm.
He sticks out the gun or sticks out the grappling hook, and there we go. Boom. All right, now, Kasisi, I'm going to tap you for a second because you've been producing some of your own books.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us from your perspective as someone who's a creator who's trying to create your things, why comics? What is drawing you to that?
Again, I wasn't, so I didn't grow up as the comic fanatic. So that is not my history in comics. I did grow up loving 80s cartoons though. So, when I thought, okay, well, how do I eventually get in? Because I love that visual storytelling. How do I get into that? That's why comics for me, it became realistic. Like I could actually tell the story visually and I don't have to just imagine that I can do it. So that's why I kind of chose comics, right? To try and develop
You a
in comics.
Thundercats fan?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, Transformers, Thundercats, all of it.
My
All
son.
of
G.I. Joe, He-Man.
Oh my God. When you said 80s comics, my son just turned 40.
Mhm.
And for his fourth birthday party, he wanted a Thundercats birthday cake so
Darn
bad.
right.
He was so into Thundercats.
Mhm. But that and it's gimmicky, made for toys, got it. But that visual storytelling kind of sucks you in, and you learn so much. I love poetry based on watching visionaries who then they had those little incantations, right? So you just kind of get sucked in and appreciate the visual medium so much. And then once I got into producing my own stuff, it became you begin to appreciate the medium, the problem solving. How do you convey that feeling, and how do you do it with the left and right limit of the page count? How do you tell a story on the page? How do you tell a story in a panel? How do you do that telepathy where you can convey the idea or tell two stories, one in the environment, one in the person's mind? Like how do you do all that? So it just became a very fascinating medium to solve problems, convey a story, and can you make a person feel a certain way having interacted with the comic book, right? So, I mean, looking at all these are clearly people who have kind of mastered the thing, right? As soon as you look at a page, you feel something. That is what I'm aspiring to do, right? Can I write something that an artist can then take and fuel them to create something that then causes a feeling, right? And I think people who obsess over different genres can do that in different genres, but for me right now, that would be comics.
A monochromatic page.
Yeah, and excellent.
Colors, yep.
and excellent storytelling. I love this. The hill here is
Silhouette, yeah.
all the silhouettes, but this is also then holding the panels down on the bottom. That's very cool. This is a great layout. That's very cool. And this is kids comics. So why comics? Because you can also present really cool stories to kids, and you can have lots of fun with that. Let's see here. All right. Oh, more kids comics. So, and you can do all sorts of different styles and approaches. Very simple, but probably kids probably think this is the funniest thing ever. I have no idea what's going on here, but we got some sort of
even this has it's all, we don't have a lot of dramatic angles from which it's shot, but we get a close up, we get a mid shot, we get a little bit more. No two panels are shot from the same distance. There's always a little bit of difference, so it keeps it visually exciting by doing that.
It seems like each of these two panels is like a joke together. So the first one, this goose is laughing, and then he knit a scarf that says honk. And then second one, only 3 in stock video games. He's laughing again, and then he buys the other 2 for his friends. It looks like. Oh my gosh! Thanks, Goose. Enjoy. Whoa! It's super cute. Goose, don't mind me just roasting up some chestnuts on an open flame. Like, okay, like you can just have fun with it. Why comics? Just to have fun. Just have fun. You know. So sometimes we lose sight of that. All right, let's see this. Oh, this is interesting. This is Will Eisner, who is a comics master. I put this in just to show that you can show mood and storytelling in every little detail.
Master of noir.
Yeah.
Every little detail shows you something about what's going on. Basically, everybody's miserable.
And just even his posture is miserable. He conveys the whole miserableness just in the posture of his character.
And then all of these guys are all kind of like all slumped over and very kind of like, aha, the defendant has arrived at last. What is this? Yeah. So, and yet they're also stern. Yeah. So, yeah. So now, so you can tell serious stories in comics. So this is what's showing here. And then we go here. And so the reason why I show this is because
that's a master class right there. Just that page alone.
So again, you can show complex ideas again in a very, very compact space. Exceptional.
So cool. I wonder, was it written that way or was it just interpreted? I wonder, is this like the evolution of an idea and it wasn't written this way, or did they actually write it this way?
Well, Will Eisner is the writer and the artist.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
It's probably all in. It was probably all in here. All together. It all came to him at once in
so
of a piece. But sometimes as you're working,
it's even got a basement.
Go, ooh,
It's
even got a basement. But as you're working, ideas come to you as well that you can incorporate as you're going along. So that may have been what happened here too. But all the way down to the basement. Man.
Yeah, like he includes the pipes, like just every little thing. Like he just includes every little detail. Like
and nothing is to scale. Nothing's to scale, but it tells the story. This house. No two people are the same size. Incredible.
Policeman on the roof. It's just like
the guy hiding by the door. Like that's
the police chief. That's So they're investigating. They're investigating a crime, and then it turns out that there's a follow-up crime, which is officer. I think my husband has been murdered. She did it.
Femme fatale.
I can't remember if
She's obviously a femme fatale.
Yeah. So this lady here keeps marrying people, and her husbands keep dying.
Black Widow.
Yeah. So and then she has a thing for this guy here who's the spirit. They tend to keep crossing paths. All right. There's another thing that comics is really good at, showing a sequence of actions. And this is just, I think this is brilliant.
Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell right at first, but yeah, that's Wonder Woman.
So this is
nicely done.
This is in the direction of Jeff Darrow a little bit, but it's not Jeff Darrow, but it's in that direction. Very, very cool. It's super cool. So you can tell stories like this in comics. This is part of why comics, and it's just so much fun to look at. So,
well, it solved the problem, right? How do you get that complex scene?
Yeah,
right in there.
That could be done so many different ways, and they just chose to do it this one way.
Yeah,
and
instead of breaking it down into 9 panels.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just made it one big massive splash. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I would love to see the script and see whether this was actually written as different panels or whether it was written as a splash like this.
Yeah,
I'm betting it was written as separate panels.
I don't know. There's enough out there where people will write an action like a movement panel. It'd be hard to describe. I mean, it'd be easier to describe in 9 panels than it would be.
Well, I know Mike Barron actually does little, almost stick figure drawings of his scripts. So he's tried to visualize what's going on, and that's the mark of a really good comics writer. They think visually. They think and they write visually because this is a visual medium. I mean, you should meld the two. You should meld the text and the art together, and that's the real key to why comics, because you can meld both the artwork and the words, as in a book, together to come up with something that's completely different. This is not a picture book like a kid's picture book. You get some of this side, you get some sort of this kind of thing in some picture books, but comics are just the next step after that. They're just it's another step beyond just a storybook. So, that's a wonderful page there.
All right, Rob. Now that you've offloaded on us, you can now fill us in on this one.
Well, this is a key scene. Yeah, this is a key scene from Boston Bombers #2. It's a 2-page spread, and you can see that there's no panels here.
Yeah.
But there are now when this was written as a 2-page spread with no panels. So this one was written visually. Ron wrote with this visually. And of course, he just hands it off to me and expects me to pull off a magic trick here. But immediately reading the script, I had the 2-page spread in my head and how to create it. So all the elements are there from his script.
Love that inking. That's so cool. All right, so he was able to describe this layout for you well enough that you could come up with this.
Yeah, and it's more or less the religious fever dream of and apparently a number of different people had this particular dream. So it's a prophetic dream of some sort. And each animal and person in this is symbolic of something. So you see the star on the forehead of the one wolf, and the eagle, of course.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Okay.
See, it's subtle. I purposely did it subtly, so you'd have to catch up to it. But it isn't. You see, it says the wolves were led by a young male with a white star on its head. So it's mentioned in the text. So I didn't need to be overly blatant with how it's done, but it's there. yeah, this was a fun page to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much in there, yeah.
So why comics?
This is a black and white book, so I couldn't do anything with color. It had to be done with the black and white. So
yeah,
I mean, I think this book could be colored pretty easily, but it works black and white. It has to work in black and white.
Very, very good and awesome. All right. Well, that's a run through of why comics tonight. We've looked at a bunch of wonderful pages. Any other thoughts on the why comics? So humor, action, adventure. You can
any genre you can think of can be done.
Any genre you can think of.
Any audience, any genre.
The special effects are immediately available to you. You don't have to go and pay for those.
Yep.
You can transport people to all sorts of different wonderful environments, whether they're real or fake.
These are the special effects right here.
Yeah. And this.
Pen and a pencil.
And that. and that. So yeah. So this is the reason why comics, because there's just so many ways you can go and so many fascinating things you can see. Yeah, I absolutely.
The incorporation of art and visual art and the written word. And no other medium does it quite the same way. And that attracted me as an 8-year-old, and it never let me go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had some talent to start with, some interest in art, and this just grabbed me and pulled me in. So I'm addicted.
I was blessed as a kid that we got the newspapers on Saturdays, and they had the Saturday color comics. So that was awesome. And then my parents got the newspaper every day.
One of the best drawn on the Sunday pages in my local paper. Just
unfortunately, that wasn't in mine.
Steve Canyon.
Yeah, Steve Canyon. Yeah. Well, he was probably gone by the time you were, or mostly gone by the time you came along. And we're old enough to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was 70s, mid-70s when he finally passed, and he wasn't going to hand it off to somebody else. So it was his baby.
Okay, that would be why. So I had Little Orphan Annie, Garfield, Hagar the Horrible, Wizard of Id, Calvin and Hobbes. Little Abner was not in my.
Little Abner and Steve
Blondie.
Canyon and Blondie.
And we still have Prince Valiant. I don't think it's quite as good as in its heyday, but it's still a beautifully drawn strip. So,
so it's interesting though.
It's a lot of what we're talking
Rex
about.
Morgan is still around too.
Yeah,
my cousin does it.
Terry's doing a bang up job over there too.
Yeah,
but he's writing and drawing, which is that's pretty incredible, and doing a bang up job of it. Really, I have to have my Rex Morgan fix every morning. So
Alrighty.
So why comics? Comics, because comics are just so much fun. So they're absolutely brilliant. So ladies and gentlemen,
it scratches all my itches.
It does, and they're so engaging, right? There's so many different things you can see in comics. Like, so Silverline puts out this awesome book which is super engaging, which is, I have to mention, Kalis, the wonderful
grab Divinity over there.
And then there's Divinity. Yep, I was going to hold up Divinity as well. There's this other cover here. So obsoletes. Yep. So why comics? Because Silverline makes them. That's why. And so, and we just absolutely love this format. It's a beautiful format to play in, and it's so much fun. So thank you so much for joining us this week, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you had fun. We had fun. I saw some really cool pictures I had not seen before, and so thanks for giving your insights, everyone. So as we will try to actually, not glitch out this time when we end our stream.
No problem. No problem.
Let me just see if I can find our stuff here. Okay, so let's
Before
see.
we try to
There. Oh, there. Okay, okay. I have the finger on the right place. I have the finger on the right place.
Okay.
Honest, I do. I'm going to just double check, triple check. Okay. All right. And as we always say at the end of our shows,
Oh my God.
wait. So look for Divinity in the previews.
Yes.
Look for
Yeah.
Twilight Grim at your comic store.
Ask your comic store to order it.
And
Yes.
and then join us next week because I think we're going to be doing what? Are we doing trivia,
Trivia.
next week?
Trivia.
Come join
One way
us
or the
for some
other.
fun trivia next week, and we'll have a blast. All right, and as we always say, make mine Silverline.
Hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.
We're still live, kiddo.
Hi, I'm Greg Horn. Make mine Silverline.